Virgo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my For Your Virgo Eyes Only exclusive Virgo March 2026 astrology report. This could be one of the most life-changing months ever, or at least in a very long time, since you actually have an eclipse in your sign. You have been targeted by this eclipse cycle since the end of 2024, and every 6 months since then, consciousness has been bubbling up into major events, major trajectory shifts, major life changes, and in some cases upheavals, in some cases things gelling together in ways that you are beyond your wildest dreams. Either way, it's a time for intensity and a time for major change. I'm going to go into all of those details, plus I'm going to give you important dates that you will want to jot down so that you can make the most of the starry possibilities this month and beyond. This is for you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Virgo placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Virgo friends, so birthdays like September 15th or 23 degree placements all through the rest of the sign. So basically September 15th through the rest of the sign, 23 degrees through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Libra report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so if you have a pen and paper handy, you may want to grab it to jot down some notes and some dates as we move along. If you don't have that handy, or you otherwise like a visual representation of some of the most important things, then go right now in another browser window to anniehelpsyou.com. Click on Unleash on that page, and you will grab your free monthly written star report with my sweet and salty dates that have all the best dates of the month, the worst dates, and the wild card dates, and what you can do with them. That's a very extensive report, and it goes hand in hand with what we're going to discuss here. So let's go through, we're going to talk about all of these things. So I'm going to take it piece by piece. We'll work our way up to the big events of the eclipse. The first thing to know is the eclipse is not the only thing bringing intensity for Virgos and bringing opportunities at this time. We've got Mars about to go into Pisces right at the beginning of the month. Of course, transiting North Node is there, the Sun, Pallas Athena, Mercury in retrograde, and Venus all in Pisces. The reason why this is important to Virgo is because Pisces is the opposing sign. On this planet of duality, we see duality show up in every area of life, this and that, up and down, and all of this is through the lens of a dual experience. And we see that duality in the astrological representations as well. So there are pairs of the 12 zodiac signs. There are pairs, and each sign has an opposing sign that is both complementary in some regards and synergistic in many regards, and also opposite in many regards. And so if anything happens in your opposing sign, it always brings this great intensity because there's this push and pull. It's this feeling of being pulled in two different directions. It's this experience of either getting all the balls up in the air successfully and being like, I have it all managed, or they're being overwhelmed and, just a lot of extra stuff going on. So this eclipse cycle that started in the end of 2024 and will go into the first part of 2027 and will get more intense every 6 months as we get into eclipse season has very much to do with me versus we, okay? That's what I like to call it. It's yourself versus relationship. And all of these Pisces placements are flooding your relationship house. They're giving you opportunities to collaborate, to corroborate, to work with, to synergize, to resolve problems, to get issues that may be undercover out into the open, to get support for anything from taxes to a lawn service or psychological support or, a mechanic. It's a time when you're flooded with opportunities to get support from other people. And that time is right now because of all of this Pisces energy. And you may also be serving as a support to other people. If you have clients, your client base may multiply at this time. If you have a business or work with people, you may find that there's extra attention needed in your relationships, both business and personal, at this time. And along with that can come financial opportunities through Venus, can come the feeling like you're soaring and on track. Pallas Athena there, the capacity to strategize. And Mercury in retrograde is giving you a chance to rethink and reconsider things. Go back over options you had before, or circumstances or problems or solutions that came up before, and to edit, revise, revamp, redo anything in your life. The Pisces energy is going to bring this dreamy, mystical, watery, emotional tone to most of the month. That's until the energy starts shifting into Aries, and that will be a completely different picture. We'll get there. But we're going to start out the month with the language of the heart-to-heart conversations, heart connections, soul connections. And those are going to be very strongly featured this month. And you may be able to add a lot of, of that softer side to your relationships, and you may be able to experience that out of your relationships more at this time. The darker side of Pisces energy is addictive energies, and you may notice that comes up. Are there addiction energies in your relationships around you? Is there an issue with codependency? Is there, an issue of avoidance or escapism? Just as the higher vibration, artistic, spiritual, connected energies of Pisces can come up strongly when we have so much energy there, so can the darker side, and some of those things may need to be reevaluated with this retrograde. Let's talk about some important dates. Okay, so the Mercury retrograde will be featuring 22 degree Pisces back to 8 degrees of Pisces. And so if you have your placements between 8 degrees and 22 degrees of Virgo, you will have exact opposition throughout the retrograde of the Mercury retrograde. Now, birth date wise, that equates to around the very end of August until around September 13th, 14th, 15th. If you're anywhere within that zone, you're going to have multiple passes of Mercury in opposition to your placement, which may make this retrograde more pronounced for you. So the retrograde pre-shadow period started February 12th. It will officially go into retrograde February 26th, and you will feel that grogginess, that inchworm, kind of squeaking through things slowly, going back and back and back over things, short-term kind of energy, experimental energy, you being on the shore with the tides coming in, and if you try to push anything too far out, it comes right back to you. Frustration if you try to force something, appliances going haywire, communication, going awry. All of that will be very strong for all of this time, but maybe the strongest from February 26th through March 20th. And then as it regulates, it'll take a few days around March 20th to start gathering steam towards being able to see more than just a step ahead, because that's something that happens during the retrograde as well, where things may become hard to plan. Your bigger vision things, may start to be waking up because Jupiter is waking up. We'll get to that. But it's a little bit easier to deal with the squeaky wheel right in front of you now than trying to conjure or do something major, unless something comes to you to decide about, which may wind up happening with the eclipse. We'll talk about that more too. But as far as you having to decide something, because it comes to you, that's a different energy than you conjuring, trying to make something happen. And those are the things that are better to avoid in this type of energy. It will take from March 20th to April 10th for Mercury to become completely clear, but every day past the 20th, you'll start to feel this kind of opening up, this like breathing room, this having more clarity. And at the same time, since March 10th is the day that Jupiter goes direct after a 4-month slumber, you may notice there are a lot of things in your life that went to sleep at the end of 2025 that are starting to wake up now. Bigger vision, bigger dreams, optimism, hope, creative resolutions, just feeling like your faith is restored, your vision is more intact, and you can see further, and you're interested in things going further out. Something that often happens when Jupiter is in retrograde is some people become less interested in the things that were a big deal to them, and they might think there's something wrong with them, and maybe there is something clinically for certain people, but a lot of times there's this mood of Jupiter, the big vision bringer, just really going in and making sure that the dreams that you have are that you can build a sustainable plan, that your foundation is strong enough for the skyscraper you want to build with your big visions. And, and then the discernment as to what you're going to put your energy towards when Jupiter goes direct again. So you'll be feeling this wake up in the middle of this sort of foggy, mystical, shadowy, a little chaotic, all these Pisces energies. There are these cogs in the wheel of forward movement. So March 10th, we have the first cog in the wheel. Things start moving forward. Sensitive people, you may notice this even at the end of January, February, when we're getting closer to the time where Jupiter is going to wake up. There is this subtle difference than when it starts to retrograde. Early March, things will just continue getting stronger as far as that big wake up. Then March 20th is the second cog in the wheel with Mercury officially direct. And then it will take until April 10th to really start having that oomph. Now, adding to this picture, March 7th, we'll have Venus go into Aries. That's going to be the first of the sequence of these inner planets, the ones that move more quickly, that will get into Aries as the month progresses. Venus, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury will get there in April, but it starts the process of, moving out of the fog into action, out of deliberation and reconsideration into moving forward. So you'll notice that this month has that flow. And if you try to do the pushing of Aries too early in the month, you'll get the outcome of frustration and the outcome of it not working out in many cases. So just kind of watch that. And then as the Aries energy starts to wake up and all of that, the forward motion starts to become enhanced, you'll see the tides start to shift when the tides will start going out. And then rather than just waiting on the shore being responsive to what comes to you, you'll start to move into more of this active state. So one of the most important sets of dates to know is April 10th through June 13th. Those are the dates that we are free and clear from personal planet retrogrades and their shadow periods. And because we have Venus going retrograde at the end of the year, plus more Mercury retrograde action, if you're trying to bring something big out into the world, something that needs the oomph of these outer outgoing tides, like imagine you're on a boat and you're paddling against the tides for most of the month, if you're trying to push out because they're coming in, but as they release and go out, anything you put out there, your big dreams, your big decisions, your big sales, your big purchases, your big moves will have more oomph. Whereas there's a little bit more of an uncertainty, a little bit more of a temporary, a little bit more of a confusing energy around them until you get to that point. Doesn't mean that you can't say yes to opportunities. It doesn't mean that you can't take things offered to you. Just know that you might not be seeing everything clearly or have a full picture of what the implications are of the things that are coming up until the energy gets more clear. Also, in the Pisces realm, on March 18th, we've got the 28-degree Pisces new moon. And this is an amazing time for intention setting, quiet decisions within yourself, which are very big, very different than the big outer decisions that those Aries placements are going to pull out of you as the month goes on. The days around the 18th, there's this quiet decision making, this quiet intention, this quiet vision that you may hold private just for you. Okay, so the big event of the month, of course, is this eclipse cycle. Let's talk more about this. So the energy of Virgo is the energy of systems, of logic, of organization, of the mundane material reality. The opposing force here in the eclipse cycle is Pisces, which is chaotic and abstract and not easily defined and not systematic, haphazard and more intuitive, logic versus intuitive, form versus formless, physical versus spiritual. A lot of this is also related to health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. All layers of wellness are within this polarity as a focus, medically on your wellness. So a lot of those topics are going to be coming up with this eclipse cycle that is going from 2024 to 2027. And every 6 months, things sort of get more dramatic and come into the forefront. They bubble up from your unconscious space. And then they sort of fade down into a new normal. And then the eclipse season starts again and they bubble up. So this eclipse season really started in January. We do have another eclipse cycle that is influencing now. I talked about that more in the January and February reports. You can go back and listen there. The Leo Aquarius eclipse cycle, which is a new cycle. But this one we're working with is, in process. So you have been seeing things go on from this every 6 months since the end of 2024. You can also think back to 2015 to 2017 and 2006 to 2008 when this Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle happened before. What notable relationship changes happened at that time? Were there big hellos, big new relationships, big goodbyes, endings of relationships? Were there dramatic changes in yourself and how you present yourself to the world, what you do, what you're known as? Were there dramatic changes for people close to you or in your relationships in general? Those kind of things are important to look at. Also look at this health, wellness. Virgo also rules animals. Their animals come in different ways, but pets and animals, things that we take care of every day, that there's a routine to, that is happening. So this is a full moon lunar eclipse. There may be something that comes to a culmination at this time. A pet may need you. There may be something related, otherwise related to animals. And it could also be work, your daily experience. Something that's relevant to what goes on for you every day, a change in your circumstances, a change to your daily routine, something notable happening to someone that you see all the time. Since it's in the first house for Virgos, this has to do with your physical body as well. And so there could be, if you have symptoms, this would be a very important time to check them out. I think it's always a good idea to check symptoms out because that's the way the body communicates with us. It's our body's language system. But this may be where a symptom gets to where you have to get it checked out, and you may get information or something may be elucidated about something that's been going on for a while. Also, if there's any mystery or anything in your day-to-day circumstance, that may also come out where it will explain a lot of things. With this bringing of the full moon in this eclipse, something is coming to a head, something is coming to a culmination. Now, when this happens, you might not know what the implications are going to be, and this is kind of back to the timeline where something may occur. Usually the things that occur from eclipses are non-negotiable, but you might not know what it means until more weeks pass where you start to have clarity about what this means for you. But this definitely can be very life-changing if you've been trying to shed old habits, trying to step into a new matrix of reality. Time and space are different around eclipse times because gravitational forces of the planets, the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun coming together create a larger energetic entity. And since time and space bend around objects of mass, we know this. That's why time is different on different planets than on our planet. And when we get out of our atmosphere or our gravitational field, it's different as well. And so when these planets align, it does change time and space. It does, change timelines. It does burn off karma. It does bring in things that might not have seemed like they would happen soon or ever. And, there is a sort of trippy time warping experience that goes on now, and that can relate to timelines with major events as well. So it's a very, very, very big, very potent, very life-changing time for Virgo. When Jupiter wakes up, you may notice those big dreams wake up, as I said, but also things involving home, family, and housing and real estate may wake up if they have come to a lull. And the progress in your friendships, your teams, your feeling belonging as you're part of something bigger, that also may move forward in a very big way as Jupiter wakes up and beautiful angles between these Pisces placements occur between them and Jupiter. If you resonate with my work, please subscribe, click like, and if you want the written star report that I talked about, the March report, then you can go to anniehelpsyou.com and put your name and email address in there. Just click on Unleash and put your info there. And in the welcome letter, it will give you instructions on how to get that monthly sweet and salty date report. If you want to see personalized reports for the outer planets, the ones that move slowly but bring major themes for your chart, go to Annie B. Clarity, Annie, the letter B, clarity.com. And if you want to learn astrology with me, if you resonate with how I teach and you want to learn, either to help you and your family and your friends or to do it professionally, I have an astrology certification course that you can check out at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.